Don't miss this week's Lookin and collect more free stickers for your Short Circuit album. Lookin is tops for TV with all your favourites, pop stars and the big names in sport and entertainment. It's the weekly magazine that's got the lot. So don't miss Lookin this week with free Short Circuit stickers.
Lookin was a beloved weekly magazine that ran from January 1971 to March 1994. Aimed at children and teenagers, it was a vibrant mix of pop culture, television, music and comic strips that captured the spirit of each decade it spanned. In the 70s, Lookin featured painted covers, many by the talented Arnaldo Puzo, and focused heavily on ITV shows, with comic adaptations of popular series like The $6 Million Man and The Bionic Woman. It also included interviews, puzzles and competitions. By the 1980s, the magazine leaned more into pop music, with stars like Howard Jones and Duran Duran gracing its pages. The covers featured photographs of the stars this time round, and the content reflected the changing tastes of its audience. The comic strips remained a highlight, often adapting shows such as Knight Rider and the A-Team. So the first issue we're going to take a look at in this episode is exactly 40 years old, because this is from the week ending 29th of June 1985, and it's the 29th of June in 2 days. Now, I have no idea why I've got this issue, because I wasn't really into music back then, and I certainly wasn't into Paul Young, but I think my parents bought this from some motorway services on the way to, I think it was Barry Island. Yeah, it would have been 1985. We went to Butlins, Barry Island, so they would have bought this for me to read in the car. So on the inside cover, we've got a questionnaire. Now, normally this page is reserved for an advertisement, either bubblegum or crisps or something like that, but Lookin wants the readers to tell them what they like or dislike about Lookin. So you have to choose 6 categories and number them 1 to 6. So if your favourite item is the Cannon and Ball picture strip, then you put 1, and if your least favourite is Street Hawk, you put a 6. Now, they say it's not a competition, but here they say that when they receive all the entries, they'll pull 3 out of the bag at random, and each one will receive a £5 postal order. And there's an advertisement there for that year's holiday special. And on this side there is the Here You Are section, where readers would send in their photographs and drawings and even their birthdays. So if you had a birthday on this particular week, they would hopefully print your name, and sometimes you would have your birthdays shared with some famous celebrities. So Tommy Cannon was 47 in 1985, and John Inman from Are You Being Served was 49. That's the same age as me. Oh God, I feel old. So someone sent in a picture of their dog, and these two guys have sent in a picture of them when they met swimmer Duncan Goodhue, and there's some sketches here of Toyah, the singer, and Boy George. And next we have the first picture strip in this issue, which is Cannon and Ball. So if you want to pause the video there, you can read all about the misadventures of Tommy Cannon and Bobby Ball. And then next up we've got the switch on section. So this was basically telling kids what is coming to TV that week. So you got Jimmy Cricket and his new TV show. There's a new program there called TX with Sue Robbie from the quiz show Connections, and I think she was on Hold Tight with Bob Carol G's, but I've never heard of TX. I'll have to look that up. And there's a new Summer Madhouse with Russ Abbott there, and a new quiz with Stu Francis. And down the right hand side, you've got what's in next week's Lookin, which is just over there. So we'll be taking a look at the next issue after this one. Then you've got the first full colour comic strip, and that is of the A-Team. So again, if you want to pause the video to read that. And next up, we've got our first advertisement, and this is advertising the free choose your own adventure books given away with packs of Weetabix. So I'm guessing you would have had to save up the tokens to send off for one of these 3 books, and that's something you don't get anymore with boxes of cereal. Like free stuff inside, which I can understand because of health and safety, but you'd think they'd have some sort of offer where you can collect tokens and send away for something, but I think those days are long gone. And on this side you've got the quiz and puzzle pages with some god-awful jokes. So why did the orange stop rolling down the hill? Because it ran out of juice. And what has a tennis player and a preacher got in common? Their service. I've seriously heard better jokes in Christmas crackers. Anyway, so there's a pop quiz there and a couple of other little puzzles, word search and what have you. And the next comic strip is based on the TV series Supergran. And I believe the actress who played Supergran sadly passed away last year, aged 98. And we've come to the centre pages with the TV listings and the colour centre of Paul Young. So let's take a look and see what was on TV back then. So Saturday, we've got Captain Scarlet in the morning, and then number 73, a random film at 5 o'clock, and then Russ Abbott and that new quiz with Stu Francis. And Friday, let's have a look. Rainbow, Crystal Tips and Alistair, Emu Live, and There's More, so that would have been the Jimmy Cricket show. And no idea what that is. Marjorie and Men. Yeah, Marjorie and Men. No idea what that is. And then we have the, like I said, the colour centre of Paul Young. And then we have the rest of the TV listings for the other regions in the UK. And then we've got the What's Your View, where kids write in and either praise or complain about programmes. So let's have a quick look and see what they're talking about. Street Talk has been one of the most boring and far-fetched programmes on. Why can't they have more things on for girls? I loved Street Talk when I was younger. I mean, it wasn't as good as Knight Rider. And there's someone there saying they're sad that the current series of Grange Hill has finished. And next comic strip is based on another ITV show, Robin of Sherwood, with Michael Praed. I think he played Robin Hood for 2 series, and then he got replaced by Jason Connery, son of Sean. And then we've got the Sports Spotlight, my least favourite part of Lookin. And this week they're talking about parachuting, and he's saying it's the most exciting thing you'll ever do. Well, I'm sure it is, but it's the most exciting thing I will never do. And the next comic strip is again in full colour, and this time it is based on the cartoon Danger Mouse. And then we've got our next advertisement, this time for KP Skips, featuring Clumsy Colin. And I've actually got the Clumsy Colin computer game on the Commodore 64. I've never played this, but it does look like some sort of isometric version of Kickstart, possibly. And then there's the special selection, which is an extract from a new book called Gruesome and Bloodsocks by Jane Holiday. And we're coming towards the end of the magazine now, so we've got the final comic strip based on Street Hawk. And finally, we've got the look around section, so there's a competition there to win one of 5 Minder videos and posters. And there's an article there about saving the elephants and banning ivory export. and the latest fashion for girls. And the final page where usually you would have an advertisement or something, and on the other side there'd be a collector page, but for a few weeks they were doing this. So you'd cut out along those dotted lines and save up all these pieces of paper, and eventually when you had enough you could make up some booklets. So you'd have the video all stars, so these were like TV and movie stars, and then the top one would be the many faces of pop. So you've got Morrissey and Prince there, and you've got Eric Estrada from Chips and Michael Brandon from the TV show Dempsey and Makepeace. And on this side you've got Richard Drummy, who was the guitarist from Go West, and Simon Le Bon from Duran Duran, and Bill Murray from Ghostbusters, and Rex Smith from Street Talk. So that's it for this issue, and in a sec we're going to take a look at the following issue. But like I said at the beginning, this magazine is exactly 40 years old this weekend. So like I said, this is the next issue. Now, I never used to buy Lookin every week. I only bought it for the free gifts or if there was a poster inside that I wanted, but I think I got this because we were on holiday and it was just there in the newsagents on the holiday camp at Barry Island. And my sister was a massive Adam Ant fan, so I think I may have given her the poster in the centre. And this is from the week ending 6th of July 1985, so this is nearly 40 years old as well. And this time the Here You Are section spans both pages. So on this side you've got cakes that take the biscuit. Well, some are good, some not so much. So that's meant to be a Mr. T birthday cake. You've got a snooker table there. Someone's had a Shakin' Stevens cake made. A Dalek, Postman Pat, Boy George, and Bugs Bunny, and a dartboard. That's probably the best one, I think. Yeah, I'd have that, even though I'm not that great at darts. And on this side you've got the star portraits, one of Freddie Mercury and one of Boy George. And these kids here have met Isla St. Clair, who was a TV presenter in the 80s. Picture of someone's cat. The silly snaps where you would send in a silly photograph of yourself and your friends. And then there's the lookalikes. Now these weren't in every issue of Lookin, but you could say that I think that so-and-so looks like someone else. So they're saying that the boxer Barry McGuigan looks like Kevin Webster from Coronation Street. Yeah, I can see the resemblance. And then you've got the birthdays there. So what famous people are celebrating their birthdays this week? So we've got Sylvester Stallone, who was 39 in 1985. John Pertwee from Doctor Who and Wurzel Gummidge was 66. Andrew Fletcher from Depeche Mode was 24, and Mark Almond from Soft Cell was 29. John Keeble from Spandau Ballet was 26. And once again we've got the Rock on Tommy with cannon and ball picture strip there. Then there's the switch on page telling kids what's on TV that week, as well as what's in next week's Lookin. And I also got that issue as well because I was obsessed with Return to Oz. Then there's the A-Team comic strip there. And then there's the quiz and puzzle page with a competition for your class to see Hold Tight at Alton Towers. And it does look like I've started but failed to finish the quiz word. So, cartoon beagle drawn by Schultz, that's Snoopy, but I've only put Snoop. I'm sure you don't spell Snoopy with an EY at the end. Let's look at the answers. Yeah, just Snoop with Y on the end. So yeah, that's a mistake on Lookin's part. That last box shouldn't be there. Oh well, let's see if the jokes have got any better. Where do animals go when they lose their tails? A retail store. That's a little bit better. When do astronauts eat their sandwiches? At launch time. And what sort of trees grow by the sea? Beech trees. Then we've got another Super Gran comic strip there. Ah! So my sister didn't steal the Adamant poster, because it's still there. Right, what was on TV? Probably the same as last week. Saturday, Chips, Different Strokes, $6 Million Man, and Russ Abbott and Ultra Quiz 85. Oh, different lineup. Sunday, Battlestar Galactica, Survival, The Sunday Matinee, Pretenders, and AAA Athletics. What about Friday? Rainbow, Crystal, Tips and Alistair, Emu's World, Cartoon, and Joke Machine. And then you've got the What's Your View, so what are the kids moaning about this time? I remember reading that 40 years ago. So it's a girl complaining about Street Hawk. So she says, I feel really sorry for Kit. What has happened to him? He's been cut down the middle, lost his voice and been renamed Street Hawk. Let's face it, that bike is just as fast, but not as good. Yeah, that is something I remember vividly from this issue of Lookin. But I loved Street Hawk just as much as Knight Rider. And then we've got the Robin of Sherwood comic strip there. Again, feel free to pause the video and read the adventures of Robin Hood. And this time on Sports Spotlight, we've got an article about fencing. Then we have the comic strip of Danger Mouse. And yet another advertisement for KP Skips with Colin Clumsy, or Clumsy Colin. Sweet corn relish. What? Sweet corn relish flavour skips. I never had sweet corn relish, or I can't remember having these, but there's a coupon there worth 13p, so skips for 13p, and if you took that to your newsagents you could get a free pack of skips. And then the special selection is an extract from Song of the City by Gareth Owen, which looks like it's just a collection of poems. And the last comic strip is of Street Hawk. And then there's the look around section where you can win one of 20 Mr. T books, help save Cyprus birds, and the holiday special advertisement there, and also the latest album from Brian Ferry, and an advertisement there for a romper suit for girls available in turquoise, lemon or pink. And there's more pages for your booklets, the Video All-Stars and Many Faces of Pop. So you've got Phil Collins, Joe Leeway from the Thompson Twins, Catherine Back from the Dukes of Hazzard, and Magnum PI himself, Tom Selleck, as well as George Michael and Paul King, Michael Praed from Robin of Sherwood, and Faceman Dirk Benedict. So there we go, that was the issue of Lookin from the 6th of July, and like I said, I did buy the following issue because I wanted the poster of Firuza Balk. And as you can see, I have no idea where it went or what I did with it. I think I just threw it away because my next crush was Jennifer Connelly from Labyrinth. Unfortunately, in the early 1990s, Lookin struggled to compete with the glossier teen mags such as Big and Smash Hits, and eventually ceased publication in 1994. But for many, it remains a nostalgic time capsule of British youth culture, packed with colour posters, celebrity interviews, and of course these great free gifts. So once again, let me know in the comments if you ever read Lookin and what was your favourite part of the mag. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, bye!